Meta just told us what's driving the best results right now, and it's not targeting, budgets, or bidding. It's about creating ads for one specific placement. In this video, I'll show you how to do so that you get lower CPAs, higher return on ad spend, and campaigns you can actually scale. So Meta have made it very clear recently that the way to get the best results is to create ads that are built for Facebook and Instagram Reels, and they have some data to back up why, right? So ads that do so get a 13% better return on ad spend on average and a 16% lower CPA. Now bear in mind, we're talking about when they've compared this, the exact same advertisers, the same ads, the same offers, but by just making ads that are Reels focused as opposed to other placement focused, you get those improvements. And that could be the 16% lower CPA could easily be the difference between a campaign that you can and can't scale, could completely change your business there. So when we're making ads with Reels in mind that are built for Reels, they can still be run elsewhere, by the way, we'll get to that in a second. What does that mean? Well, firstly, it means that you're making ads with a vertical aspect ratio, so 9:16, that are going to look good in the whole screen on a mobile device primarily, right?
That aspect ratio is important because it makes the reel feel like it's meant for the space. So we see a lot of reels that maybe come in at 4:5 and don't fully fit. Really important to get it right and make it video.
And that changes from the advice that used to be given, that Meta would give out and that I would give as well, where you would typically have said, if you can only create ads in one format, do a 1:1 aspect ratio. So basically square. That'll look decent. Meta will make it work in stories and reels and the vertical placements and elsewhere. And that advice has now changed significantly. If you only have the resources to create ad creative that's going to work in one aspect ratio, do it for vertical. Do it 9:16. You're better off concentrating on that in the first instance, because that is now more important than feed ads, which is really interesting. We'll get back to the video in a second. Before we do, I just want to quickly let you know about my mentorship program. Now with my mentorship program, me and my team mentor people daily to help them get the best possible Facebook ad results. We've actually had some amazing results recently from some of our mentees. We'll pop them up on screen right now. In fact, 82% of people that join my mentorship program see a notable improvement in their Facebook ads return on ad spend within just 30 days of joining. And that's a stat that I'm really proud of. There is a link in the video description below. You can click on that, come through to a page on our website and book in a free, no obligation call with one of my team members to find out more about it and see if it would be a really good fit for you. Hopefully we get a chance to work together. The second thing you need to do is make sure that you add audio, assuming of course that you're not running a video ad that already has audio and people speaking, and that would already be included, so that's fine. But if you don't, if you've created say a slideshow based video or something that doesn't have audio, you want to make sure that you do go ahead and get audio added.
I remember a time where I would talk to advertisers and be like, hey everyone, build for sound off, because people need to read sound. Now build for sound on, right? We have data that says people are having their sound on more, especially in the real space. So think about audio and use audio.
So you want to get audio added, and Meta makes it really easy to do so. So for a lot of the ads that you create, it's going to be included by default as part of Advantage Plus Creative Enhancements. Now my recommendation with that is to use it, but to be the filter. So when you create your ad, you add in your ad creative, you go through the process, you will see Advantage Plus Creative Enhancements pop up, and then you will be able to click into that and go through each individual specific enhancement that Meta wants to use or think would be appropriate for your ad creative, and you can say yes to this one, no to that one, and go through them, right? One of them is going to be music, if you don't already have audio added as part of, naturally as part of the ad creative there. And I think the Meta suggestions are often quite decent, the music that they add, but you want to check, you can change it. It's not a accept or decline. You can go, oh, actually I do want music, but let me go ahead and manually adjust this and pick something that I would prefer to use. I think most of the time it's good, but obviously has to be aligned with your brand and all that sort of thing. The advantage of also using the music that's included within that setup is you're never going to run into any copyright issues or anything like that, right? Because it's literally part of Meta's creative enhancements. Okay, and then number 3, the third thing you want to do to make sure your ads are built with Reels in mind is to make sure that everything important is included within the safe zones. And Meta have got a really good support doc about safe zones, and I've got up here. And if I scroll down to the imagery here, we can see, look, we've got Reels over here on the left-hand side, and everything within this section here is within the safe zone. Now, that's quite a small area, and it doesn't mean that you can't include things that are outside of this, because you can see more than half of the creative is not included within a safe zone, but it's talking about including the important stuff. So any text overlays, any information about offers, anything that people have to see wants to be included with the safe zone. And if you make your reels with that in mind, they will then work on other placement options as well. Because not only on reels do you have certain things not be visible because you've got this information in front, but also if you think about this sort of section, that could be the part that gets primarily used on, say, feed-based placements and stuff like that, right? So as long as you make it with this in mind, then you should be okay. It's just, when I've talked about that before, people say, oh, I am with safe zones. Maybe they're thinking the story safe zones, which are quite a bit bigger. And you're really like, no, like, are you sure? Have you actually got it in there? Because you can create an ad that then looks rubbish on a different placement option if you haven't got anything within here. Or even within reels themselves, you could have important stuff down here that gets covered by, the name of your Instagram profile or page, or the CTA button. Is just not a good look. So make sure you're within these safe zones, and you can't go wrong. Now, Meta have given us some other ad-based recommendations that I want to share with you in a second, but first I want to let you know about Hyros. Hyros is the best tracking and attribution software for Meta ads. It's the software all the big players in this industry use, including myself. I use it to track results for my own ads, as well as all my organic results as well. So if someone books a call for our done-for-you services, for example, I can see exactly where that person came from with a lot of accuracy. That allows me to make better decisions for my marketing and my business. Hyros has been able to track that from our ad spend in this campaign, we've generated £96,000, but £58,000 of that was not reported by Meta. So if I was just looking at my data within my Meta ad account, I might come to the conclusion that this campaign is doing okay, but in reality, this campaign is doing a lot better. Now, this is a relatively extreme example because of the nature of our business. So most of our product services have recurring billing elements. Meta might be able to see what we make initially from our ad spend on that initial transaction, but not those subsequent payments. And that's why it shows the importance here of being able to accurately see what did we actually get from our ad spend in order to be able to make better decisions and optimize correctly. So if you want to improve the performance of your ad campaigns without having to touch your ads, go ahead and sign up to Hyros. There is a link in the video description. So one of the things that Meta's been doing recently that's a big new development in ad delivery, and it massively impacts campaign structure, and I've had loads of questions about this, is that they have been recommending to us advertisers that we consolidate. So stop having lots of different campaigns unless you're advertising very different things. Consolidate into one or a few campaigns, consolidate the ad sets, don't have tons of ad sets in a campaign, have fewer. And that's led a lot of advertisers to question, well, how do we go about putting different ads in front of different people? Surely we need different ads to go in front of people that are completely cold, never heard anything about our business before, versus ones that are already pretty warm, perhaps visited a website, perhaps on our email list, and are ready to convert. The typical structure, that we used to use being that sort of top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. How do we go about doing that? The same dynamics are at play. People still need to be warmed up, introduced to a brand, warmed up over time, and get to the point where they're ready to purchase. What Meta's now doing and able to do is decide in amongst the ads that you've got within one ad set. So this could be like one sales campaign. Let's say you've got 6 different ads in one ad set. Meta can work out, okay, this one's a bit more of a top of funnel ad. We'll put that in front of people first. And then people who have engaged with that or seen that will then put this other ad that's more of a bottom funnel ad in front of them and get them to convert. It's a very clever mechanism that Meta's using. This can be tricky for optimization though, because you can look at your ads and think, why is Meta spending so much money on this ad when its return on ad spend isn't very good? It's because it's using that one more as a top of funnel ad, and maybe another one that's getting much better results from a return on ad spend standpoint is more of a bottom funnel ad, but really they're working in conjunction with each other. Even though, like I said, this is all within one ad set, sales campaign, could be a leads campaign, but they're working with each other. Very clever way of doing it. So from an optimization standpoint, the latest advice now is don't turn something off, like an ad off, unless Meta has stopped spending money on it. So in that scenario I just gave, where one ad has a much worse ROAS, but Meta continues to spend, Meta might be using that as a top of funnel ad, and then likewise using other ads as a bottom of funnel ad. What'll happen if you just turn off the top of funnel ad, because you're thinking, Meta's spending money on this, I'm not getting good results, I just want them to spend all the money on this ad, I'll get better results. You can do that, and then you find that other ad, all of a sudden the results get much worse, you haven't got that other ad acting as a top of funnel ad, they're all just going to the one that maybe is a little bit too far down the funnel, maybe it's a bit more salesy or whatever, and it's just not a good overall setup, and your overall performance drops down. So, like I said, turn things off, not if they have a worse return on ad spend when it comes to ads in an ad set, but if Meta isn't spending on it. Because if Meta's not spending on it, they've basically worked out there's no point, you have better alternatives. So it's that scenario now where we look to turn something off. And then that's when we would introduce new ads to compete against our existing ones, see if Meta spends money on it, see how much they spend on it, do they stop spending? And that's a new updated optimization process. Now, in order for this process to work as well as it possibly can, Meta really wants us to add in creative diversity. Because you can't do the process I've just described. Meta can't do that if you've got one ad with a few variations that are all very similar. So they want us to create ads that are in different formats. They want us to create ads that are speaking potentially to different people within our audience, different parts of the sales funnel, that some are a bit more going for the sales, some are a bit more awareness based. Again, campaign structure is still very much consolidated, but that's what we can look to add in.
And there are two keys for unlocking creative in our platforms. The first one you've heard about is creative diversification. Compared to using one single creative, Meta campaigns incorporating 5 to 10 assets win more attention than those that don't. And the attention is reflected in 44% increase in effectiveness and 24% increase in ad spend.
Meta's also talked about the fact that some people just respond to different things. So alongside what I just described of like the funnel process being created, some people are much more likely to watch a long video and have that convince them to purchase. Others are going to do so based on images. People have different personalities, different triggers, and as AI gets smarter, as Meta's delivery system gets smarter, it can take advantage of these things. It can go, you know what, we can see from the data, this person is more likely to respond to a talking head video. This person is more likely to respond to an animated style video. So the more creative diversity you have in your ad sets, Meta is able to produce the best results possible. With some businesses, I think this is more important than others. If you're selling a very impulse purchase type product, less of a big deal because people can just see it, go ahead and purchase or not. If it's a more considered purchase, I think this is where it becomes really important so that Meta can work it out, use complicated mechanisms to put ads, the right type of ad in front of the right type of person, much more aligned with like their personalized interests and what's more likely to get them to take action, can do so in a structured manner, this ad, then this ad, and help us all get better results. But obviously, in order for Meta's AI to do its thing and this optimization process to do its thing, then us advertisers need to feed it so that it can go ahead and do that. And that's one of the updates that have come out. And I see a lot of advertisers optimizing their ad sets and ads the wrong way based on that new advice, so hopefully that is helpful. Now, this whole video has been about a big change to best practices, and I've got an even bigger one for you right here. There have been significant changes in user behavior on Facebook and Instagram, and we need to update what we do as advertisers in order to match that and get the best results possible. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and check this out. I lay it all out for you. I explain exactly what you need to do, so go ahead and give it a watch.